Welcome to Curious Awakenings with Em and Rama, where we wonder how magic and kindness connect. How's it going, Rama?
Excellent. Wow. Good to be here.
Right on. Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Getting some spring weather, and it feels fantastic.
It feels like third day of spring. I know semantics, technicality. It's not till the 21st or 22nd, whatever. But this feels like the third day of spring.
Yeah.
I know we could still have 1997, I believe. Don't quote me on this exact date. Folks out there, do you remember April Fool's Day? 3 feet of snow? Remember, folks, April Fool's, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, 1997. So we may not be out of the woods yet, but this feels like the third day of spring.
We can enjoy it as it's happening.
Oh, we can. Yeah, I don't need to be a Debbie Downer or anything.
Yeah. Right on.
Definitely digging it.
Well, it's funny thinking about making a jump, right, from here to the
Spring.
21st of,
Yeah.
Because our show today is all about jumping.
Really?
Just to give a little bit of context.
Context is good.
We'll talk about the show, Quantum Leap, because that's its own thing. But the idea of a quantum jump is essentially shifting radically, immediately, a state of energy. So a good way to conceptualize this is at the level of the atom. So we know in an atom, there's the nucleus where we have the neutrons and protons, and then there are electrons in orbit at different energy levels surrounding the nucleus. And the idea of a quantum jump is an electron can jump from one energy level to another energy level and not occupy any space in between. So essentially, an electron in a lower energy level can accept a photon, can accept light energy, jump to a higher level of excitation.
Excitation.
Great word,
Love
right?
that word.
Yeah. And for a while, we weren't able to actually understand that it's occupying the space in between. So we've been able to, I think, since the idea of the quantum jump came to be, we've been able to see that, yes, perhaps there is an occupation of the space in between the orbits. But I think it's still fun to think about, that might not always be the case. And perhaps sometimes it does go from this level of excitation to this level of excitation without occupying the space in between.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
A radical shift in energy.
You are so smart. How'd you learn all this stuff?
Google.
Wow. No.
The Google.
Come on. You're a scientist. You're a scientist.
Well, I do appreciate the science.
Yeah, you obviously do. It's good to have you explain it like that way. It's so, you articulate it very well. And you use the phrase, the space in between. It makes me think of music.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. I'm a musician, but I'm no expert on musician.
Yeah.
But the space in between, I do percussion, so that space in between the beats, sometimes I have to let that be and not try to do too much, especially as a support. The percussion is support. It's not necessarily the main thing in a musical ensemble or a musical performance. So, but anyways, the space in between musicians, we may be able to have a musician on at some point and have them talk about how the space in between is so important. It's like the silence.
Yes.
It's so important, in between the
so
words,
interesting
in between the thoughts.
Made that connection, Rama. Like
Yeah.
if you think about, if you think about, being a percussionist and that satisfying like whack of the drum, right? Of any of the instruments, right?
Yeah.
But it's like there is still stuff happening when you lift the implement.
Lots of stuff happening
so
in between.
Much,
and
right?
stillness.
That energy is like rippling out and back, right? We're hearing the echo of it. We're hearing the residual of it, right? So it's like even though we're not actively, like you said, like doing something, that silence or that in between.
The in between, the stillness, and we'll get back. Yeah, we'll get back to the quantum leaping, jumping thing. So another thought on the stillness. I was living in North Carolina, Asheville, and I went up to the mountains, Blue Ridge Mountains, and I was just sitting and breathing like we do before we start the show, and up against a tree with my back up against a tree, just breathing, my feet on the ground, feet on the earth, and I was feeling the stillness, and I was like, I just had the awareness, awakening, a thought, curious awakening, that wow, it's in the stillness, the silence where big things happen. And it felt like a big thing just to sit there in silence and stillness with that big, huge tree in the Blue Ridge Mountain Parkway.
Yeah.
And
I think that's why mindfulness and meditation can be so powerful. We allow ourselves that stillness and silence that our modern lives really don't allow for much of.
And is that
are intentional about it.
And how does that relate to the quantum leaps and jumps that we are discussing?
It's a really interesting question. Well, I think let's talk about the show for a second. I've never seen the show, so I'll just preface it by saying the little I know is from Mark, our
producer. I may have seen the show. Mark described it and highly recommends it.
Yeah, so in the show, Scott Bakula quantum jumps. He lands in a new body every episode. And that the person whose body he's occupying was in some kind of crisis or having some kind of problem. And so when Scott Bakula jumps into the body, he has to figure it out. He has to solve whatever the problem is that the person was experiencing.
Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And so every episode has a happy ending. But I think if
love happy endings.
Me too.
Yeah.
And if you think about the experience from the perspective of the person whose body Scott Bakula jumps into, what they're experiencing is, they're going from experiencing the problem, and then when they're back in their body, it's fixed. So the space in between, poof, they didn't.
There's a quantum leap.
That's a quantum
jump
leap,
there. How'd that happen? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I think that meditation, we can achieve these quantum leaps, right? We can have these sort of out of our body,
stillness, out of being
experiences.
And it also makes me recollect the experience of when I moved to Asheville, North Carolina. I had just finished my massage degree, and Asheville was going to be where I was going to start my career, my massage career, and teaching yoga as well, and doing partner yoga and acrosage, also known as acro yoga. But anyways, landed in Asheville, didn't have an apartment yet, just landed there.
Yeah.
And I found a boarding house kind of thing, a rooming house. They rented by the night.
Mm-hmm.
And I had there was a shared room with about, 10, 12 other people. I had my little twin-sized bed, and I was just, in the afternoon, I was just laying there being. Mm. And I had the revelation that there's nothing left to do, just to be. And it was so free. And the thought, though, originally, at first I had a little thought, anxiety. It's like, oh my God, does that mean I can die? I'm going to die? There's nothing left to do, just to be. It's like, no, it's not what it means. It just means let go of the doing. Now I'm just about being. Yeah. How free is that? And I soon after that, I located a massage, the #1 massage therapy place in Western North Carolina, as the sign said, and it was an amazing holistic center. I got a job there as a massage therapist and embarked on my career there, and then found an apartment shortly thereafter. But
I love that.
Not by doing, just by being.
Just by being. It's sort of like you allowed Scott Bakula to hop into your brain for a sec, fixed it, and then when you came.
Yeah, there was no stress about, oh my God, where am I going to live? Where am I going to work?
You had the answer. You knew the step to take, kind of. That's so interesting. And I think, thinking about that, like meditation, I think when we are in those states of relaxation,
states of awareness, states of relaxation,
of
states
awareness,
of peace,
like we can
allow
that consciousness to come in. I think there are
other... I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Keep going. And there are other ways. I want to get to this quantum leap and quantum jumping thing.
Yeah.
You have thoughts and experience with this.
Well, it's more just wondering. Curiosity.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we can help each other to have those sort of quantum
like in
leaps.
General, people in general.
Right? So we know it's energy, right? So that little electron that's able to jump, we know it's receiving a photon of light. It's receiving energy from outside of its little nuclear system to allow it to make the leap. So can quantum jumps happen when someone loves you? Because love is energy.
And if love is energy and energy is matter, right? Doesn't that make love really matter? Mm-hmm. I love that. I know it's corny.
It's cute. Isn't it cute? Yeah.
But love, say that again. Ask that question again. If someone loves us, does that help?
Can we make,
quantum leaps and jumps?
Right.
I do believe so. What do you think?
I think so.
You have experience with this? You have something concrete you can share?
I just have So, okay, I think we talked a little bit about this at one point, but the things that would allow us to make the biggest leaps
yeah.
to help us grow the most, I think our ego often blocks us from seeing it.
Ooh, yes.
Right? Because change is hard, change is scary, change threatens our whole existence because we would be different than we are now. So we put up blocks. But that doesn't mean that other people around us, especially people who love us and who we love, doesn't mean that they can't see those possible opportunities for growth, for making the big leaps. And I think what can sometimes happen is people don't want to tell us what it is that would help us make those big jumps. They don't want to be unkind. They don't want to be cruel. They don't want to make us feel like we're not enough as we are. So then nothing ends up being said.
They don't want to tell us how to change.
They don't want to tell us how to change. And
they kind of do, but they don't want to be. You're right. Maybe they want to, but they want to do it.
Is there a way to do it
without
kindly?
Right?
And again, like you want
inviting, suggesting, without giving advice.
Without giving advice.
Some people love to give. A lot of us, I think.
But a lot of us don't want
advice,
it.
but I don't. Right. You know what the worst? You know what the worst vice is in the world?
What?
Advice. You know why?
That's a good one.
You know why?
Why?
Because wise men, women don't need it. Wise men don't need it, and fools don't heed it. Or wise women. Wise men don't need it. Fools don't heed it. It's worse advice.
That's a good one, Rama. I like that one a lot.
Oh, thank you. High five.
High five.
And I have been habitual. I wrote down the word habits. I and a lot of people in my family, my big crazy Italian family and other Italian, not just Italian, but have been want to give advice, and I've had to learn not to give advice. One of the greatest books I've ever read, and hopefully we'll do a show on this, is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. We've talked about this. I know this show's not about that book, but How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. A lot of you viewers know this book. You've read it many times. And I just recently bought it because I need it. And
look at me. I'm in this conversation.
You are. Oh,
yeah.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Why am I looking at the camera? There's no one there.
Me.
You're here.
Look at me.
Thank you. Look at me.
Look at me.
Look at me. I want to be seen too.
I want to be seen.
Thank you.
There was no criticism. I was just feeling left out.
That's funny. Where was I? Having too much fun.
We were talking about how to
win friends. Yeah. How to win friends and influence people. All right. So the book should be called How to Be a Kind Human, because when I talk about this book, people say, "Well, the title isn't it about trying to manipulate people?" No, not at all. It's How to Be a Kind Human. It was written in 1936 as a guide to public speaking and being, a better person to get along better with others.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna be a kinder person, we're gonna win friends, and we're gonna have a better chance at influencing people. If we're a knucklehead and always telling people what to do, and never listen to other people, we're not gonna win friends and influence people.
Yeah.
But if we can be kind, we will.
Have you ever had a moment, Rama, that you can remember? I know this is putting you on the spot. When you
Please put me on the spot.
When you feel like someone gave you some kindness in the form of, gave you some love, and you made a quantum jump in
Yes.
who you are. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Many times.
Many times.
Nothing specific.
Nothing specific.
Nothing
coming to mind.
specific.
I'll
But
give
you
an
have
example.
something. You have
I've
something.
This is it's a silly one, but it just popped into my head. But I was interviewing for a job, and it was a virtual interview, and I had to do a little presentation, and I had a tech issue. I lost signal, had to log back in, and it was like nothing was working. And I was just
Zooming thing?
Oh gosh, it was horrible. And so I'm running around, I'm trying to find a different computer, find a different thing. And I got back and I was panicked and stressed, and I'm trying to hold it together. I'm trying so hard. But the person interviewing me, and it was a whole panel of people. There were a whole bunch of people on the Zoom call. And the person who was leading it, her name is Liz, and she's just a saint. And she was just like, "Are you doing okay?" She just held the space for me. She was so loving. And it was in that moment, I was like, oh, that's a thing I can do for someone else. The way that she just held space for my panic and my nerves, and like the technology just wasn't working. She just said, it's all good. Like, we're here. Nobody's gone. Like, it's all good, you know?
That is a grace. That's a gift of grace.
It was
that lady
absolutely a gift.
Shared with you.
It was a gift of love. And it was so powerful because now when there are tech issues, like, you know, before I might have been like, what's this person doing, wasting my time? No.
So you're more compassion and empathy for others.
Absolutely.
Maybe for me, with the technologically challenged,
yeah,
me that I am. You've been very kind about that.
Oh, thank you. It's thanks to Liz.
Excuse me?
It's thanks to Liz.
Thanks to Liz that
thanks to
gave
Liz.
you that grace, shared that grace with you.
But it was just a little thing, but I feel changed by that encounter forever. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good story, and it prompted, it stimulated a memory for me too.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Okay. Yeah. What you got?
I was I was having a down day, I was down.
Yeah.
And I needed to go somewhere, maybe the Boston area. Yeah. I think I was living in Natick, and jumped on the Mass Pike to go on the tolls. Back then, we actually had to interact with a human being and pay them the toll. Mm-hmm. There was no Easy Rider or Easy Pass, Easy Rider thing, which we have on our windshield. Anyway, so I paid the toll person. Yeah. And I always liked interacting with them because it's an interaction. We all love little tiny interactions, you know, micro interactions that we have during the day. And it's what I live
love
for.
them.
I do too.
We love those.
That's why I love Trader Joe's. No self-checkout. I love Market Basket. No self-checkout.
We're people,
Thank you very
Rama.
much. We are people.
We're people.
Yeah, I've seen Barbara Streisand sing a song about that.
Maybe.
People who love people are the most wonderful people.
Well, I mean, there are other great folks too, like people who love the plants and people who love. We need everyone. We need all kinds
animals.
of love, right? Yeah. We just both happen to be the people.
I know I digress. Bring me back on this, but there's that bumper sticker. I love animals more than I love people. I love animals. I love people just as much as I love animals.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the toll worker, he or she, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Might have been a he, might have been a she, and they. As I paid the toll, I'm not feeling bright at all.
Yeah.
This person says, "Wow, I see the light within you.
Oh.
I see the light inside you."
Oh.
From the toll person.
Yeah.
I said, "What?" "Yeah, I see you've got a bright light."
That's awesome.
"Oh, I am so not feeling it today."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I see it."
And we can do that for each other.
And that how it relates to a quantum leap, quantum jump.
Yeah.
It made me feel seen, heard. It made me feel, all right, even though it was a lesson, I look back to that, even though I might be feeling down at that moment, I'm not going to be down forever. It's like when we're tired and we feel tired, we're not going to be tired forever. Yeah. So if we wake up tired at 7 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, we're not going to be tired all day. Mm-hmm. Just going to maybe get it moving, or maybe stay in bed another 20 minutes, whatever. We're not going to be tired all day.
Yeah.
That light is not going to be dim so long.
Yeah.
So that lesson from him, at that moment was a leap. It was a leap and a lesson. Lessons can be leaps. Lessons can help us with the leaps, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That magical lesson.
When it's delivered in love.
Yeah. This person didn't know me for Adam. Speaking of Adams, didn't know me, you know, and just something made him share that with me at that moment.
Yeah.
Maybe they were just they were an angel. They were in touch with their inner angel at that moment. Anyway, I don't know why it happened, but it happened. I remember.
Yeah. For someone to like be able to set their own ego aside, right? Because I struggle with this all the time. You know, I wanna like say, I just think about what Liz did for me, and she could easily have said, you know, you really should have had all of this figured out ahead of time. Like you really should, right? Like that's a way she could have.
Some people may have, and that's happened to us. Different things along that line.
But like that doesn't really help. I mean, maybe it does. Maybe it does.
It's not how we win friends and influence people.
No. And I'm sorry today, like when you were running a little bit late, I was not helpful. And so I'm sorry about that.
Wait. Yeah, well, wait, let's talk about that. If you don't mind, folks. When I was running late, I was not feeling good about myself.
I know, and I said something really unkind. I said, oh, we're going to have to figure that out.
You're going to figure out this timing thing, Rama.
That just wasn't a nice thing for me to say.
Well, you didn't say it meanly.
Right, but it wasn't maybe the most helpful thing.
But it made me think, as I was driving, about how and why, and you asked me why, you know, that this is happening.
Yeah.
Because I thought I had made a major leap jump because I let go. This is a powerful lesson for me. This is a leap lesson. How as someone's loved us and showed us this kindness and how we've made leaps. I showed myself the kindness of letting go of rushing.
Yeah.
About 8 months, a year ago, roughly, I let go of rushing. I have freedom of schedule in my life, so I can let go of rushing.
Yeah.
I think we all can let go of rushing. We can let go of busy. Have you ever been busy being busy? Folks out there, have you ever been busy? I have.
Oh, yeah, same.
I've been busy. I've had people in my family that were busy. We say we're busy. That's an energy. That's not a thing. It's not a real thing. Yeah. It's an energy we create. We create our own reality, and we create that. But so I gave myself the permission to not rush anywhere.
Yeah.
And I've been historically challenged to get places on time for whatever reason. And this is a whole nother show. Those who are prompt, those who are challenged to get on time, and how they get along or not get along, and how they can maybe give a little more peace and understanding to each other. But that's another story for another day. So I gave myself the permission and the love to not rush. And since then, I've been basically getting places wicked early. Early, or on time or early. But the last few weeks, because I've scheduled so many things in the morning, I'm having trouble getting places on time. And so that happened this morning, and Emily called me on it, kind of, sort of, in a loving way. You did.
Oh,
yes.
well, I'm grateful to hear that it was because
I took it as in a loving.
Okay, good.
No, I didn't see any animosity, feel any animosity, because you've been very graceful for the last couple of times I've been a little bit late at the Brood Awakening. And one thing I've learned is, whenever possible, to ask the person, or can I just call you on the way, so our timing is good, for both of us, so I'm not leaving you waiting, or vice versa. Yeah. I'll call you when I'm leaving my house, half hour roughly for you, half hour for me, so that I don't have to feel bad about myself and don't have to leave you waiting. So that's a tool that I've used that's helped me a lot. But when we're telling Mark we're going to be here at 10 and start everything at 10:30, that doesn't work, because I committed to a time, so it adds stress to my life. And anyway, enough about me.
Anyway, back to kind of the idea of a quantum jump. So I'll give a scenario that I'm trying to kind of figure out right now, and I want your take on it. So I have a friend who is just a love, just a kind, wonderful human being. This person, I'm just going to use they pronouns, this person would really love to find a partner. And they've identified that the biggest barrier to them finding a partner is their own self-esteem. And I noticed when I was giving this person a hug that it was a little bit of like a stiff hug. And I think for a while I thought, oh, maybe that person doesn't want to hug me. And now I'm thinking, maybe that person just doesn't feel yet their body is worthy of a hug. And I had this thought, could a quantum leap happen for this person if I can flood their body with love, to just like hug them, not let them go, and just
worth a try.
Worth a try.
Why not?
I think that maybe massage and
Has that
touch.
person ever had a professional massage?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Certainly, some people just have a certain thing about touch and about hugs that we don't understand. We don't know their whole background. We don't know their shoe. We haven't walked in their shoes. Whether it's cultural, whether it's historical, whether it's genetical. Is that a right word? Is that a word, genetical? But so we don't know all their background around touch. And having been and still a massage therapist, I've worked with that and have to find ways when people come to me to have them feel comfortable, and they may not have had massage ever. And how to feel someone. But I have met people that just say, well, I do an occasional massage therapy now. I used to be a professional. Oh, I don't like massage. Some people just don't like massage or touch from strangers.
It's so true.
And I'm very particular about all that.
Yeah.
But your question again is?
Could a quantum shift, a quantum leap happen. And as you're speaking,
Yes.
I'm remembering that like everybody is different, right? And so I'm projecting right now because for me, touch is really a powerful like
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not true for everybody.
No.
So I guess what's the best way to go about it is probably to ask a question.
Yes, ask a question. Thank you. I was just popped into my
You're
head.
teeing that up.
Communication.
Communication.
Communicate with this person.
Yeah, like,
open a door. Open a door. That's a great phrase.
yeah.
Just open a door. Open a window. Open a window.
Yeah.
For now. Then maybe
really,
open a door.
Here, this is going to blow your mind. Ready?
Yes.
It's hold the empty space. That's in between space.
That we don't know. That in between. Yeah.
Hold that
Yeah,
space
hold that.
for someone.
Let them know. Yeah, just have a discussion. Have a discussion. Yeah, and that shows love, that you're
Right?
taking an interest.
Exactly.
And that could help a quantum leap.
Right.
Just the fact that a friend, and this person wants to be with women.
With a person.
A woman,
yeah,
a partner.
With a partner. Yeah.
And just that another human being's taking an interest in them unconditionally.
Yeah.
With love, opens up their heart to, could possibly open up their heart to a quantum leap or a quantum jump into welcoming more love into their life, love and joy, and could help with their self-esteem and confidence.
Yeah.
So this game of life is all about confidence and self-esteem.
And love.
Love, but with love, self-love, and other love from around, it's all connected. It's hard to like boil it down to one thing, but in my experience, so much of being successful, whatever that means in life, is being confident. Especially, I'm an athlete, competitive athlete, sports. It's all about confidence. I grew up kind of pensive. I was an athlete growing up, but I thought too much, so it created pensivity, which doesn't breed confidence. When you're thinking too much about making the catch or doing that, it doesn't breed confidence. Some people just
There's
have
value in that too, though, right?
I didn't see it very valuable growing up, thinking about stuff and not being confident, because I'd see other boys, people that were ultra confident, just went for it, dove, this and that and the other, without repercussions.
But I mean, you can have confidence taken too far, right? Without thinking things through, without thinking about it, you can end up in dangerous situations.
Yeah, of course.
In situations where you're kind of unbalanced the other way, right? So I don't want you to
beat myself up about that.
Beat yourself up about it, because the
not having
thinking is
confidence as
also
a little kid.
valuable. Yeah, the thinking is an important part of who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the balance that makes you you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess this is an interesting thing that I'm going to think a lot about now. Like, how can we hold space? How can we hold that space? Ask the question.
Yeah, we don't know.
Allow for it to happen.
There's so many things we don't know.
And give that little photon, a little bit of love, right? Make sure the person feels loved, and then just ask the question.
Curious. Be curious.
Be curious.
Stay curious. And that'll stimulate love and curiosity in them, and then that'll open a whole Pandora box for them. Open a window, open a door.
I think, Rama, before our next episode,
Yes.
can we make a deal to each try to do this for someone else, to try to create the context for a quantum leap?
Create the context for a quantum leap. Could you give me something a little more specific assignment?
Yeah. So if you see where someone that you love has the potential for making a big leap to grow in a way that they want to grow, right? Like, this person has identified how they want to grow. So I can, if you find someone in your life who has expressed an interest in wanting to grow in a particular way, maybe can't see their own barriers, their own blocks.
What's my assignment, or our assignment?
Okay, infuse
specifics.
with love, right? Make sure this person knows that you love them. You're providing that little bit of energy in the form of love, and then you're asking the question, and you're holding the space open for them to have a quantum leap, a possible quantum leap. Love, curiosity, and space.
And space, thank you.
We're going to try that and see if that's our magic formula.
I'll commit to that. Yeah?
Yeah.
We do that?
All right, let's do it. All right.
Nice.
And if you also would like to try this, right?
Folks out there,
feel free to give it a go. A little bit of love, a little bit of curiosity, and a little bit of willingness to hold the space for someone who you feel has expressed to you an interest in growing and taking a leap.
That is a great assignment.
Let's do it.
Yeah, thanks for elucidating that so that I can understand the assignment too. And our folks, viewers can, hopefully.
I know.
This was fun.
Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time on
Thanks,
Curious
everybody.
Awakenings.